Check 1 2 1 2. Okay. Had to redo that. Had to do a little quick restart. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'd like to turn it up. Awakening Faith, what up? Welcome in, welcome in. It's TIMS Tuesday. This is my story. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How's everybody feeling? Back for another episode. It's Tuesday, baby. Kingston, what up? Crystal, what up? I got some new emojis for my subscribers to play with today in the comments. What up, King? What up, King? Hey. Hey. Oh, look at the new emojis. Hello. Shout out to Mr. Cheese creating that dope TIMS logo there. Appreciate you, Mr. Cheese. What up, Janine? Just waiting a few minutes. Let's tap that screen. Tap that screen, tap that screen. Hey. What's up, sweet one, Nana? What's going on? Hola. If you're just tuning in, this is your first time tuning into the TIMS Tuesday. This is my story. We do this here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. I bring on a new guest. We learn about them, their story, and we learn a little bit about how their story may coincide with our story. And we learn that we're not the only ones going through what we're going through. What up, Jenny? Jenny from the Blizzak. Yeah, you can't bop Mr. Cheese no more. You were kind of shocked that you couldn't bop him, right? Let's keep tapping that screen. Gonna make sure that my guest is in here before we officially get started. I don't see them yet. So, you loving the setup? Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Took some time and effort to get to this point. Actually, hold up. Let me like that you pointed that out because I'm missing my little log right here. I don't know if y'all see my little lion. Got that lion as one of my Valentine's Day gifts. He chilling next to the Black Panther. You feel me? Appreciate you. Appreciate the likes. Appreciate the gifts. I am Mark L. Is it you? I wonder who it's gonna be. I don't know. So if you are not following I am Mark L yet, please go ahead and follow him now. He is going to be my guest today. He will be using my backup account. He is not yet at 1,000 followers, but I think it's very important for me to get this person on. Okay. Oh, you are? Sweet. Okay, cool. So yeah, the reason why I've actually invited Mark L to be on today is I want to say, I made the comment before about like he's popping in real life. He just hasn't found that same level of followers, basically. So he's fairly new to TikTok, but he has a very dope series that he's been doing, and I've been following it. I do also know him in personally. We are business partners as well, and I felt like it would be dope for the people that I've connected with here on TikTok to learn about his story, his insight and his views on life. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this music down. I'm going to invite my guest up. So let's go ahead and send the invite, and let's bring him up. Got the air horns ready for you. What's good, bro?
What's up?
Um, I want to get some claps in. I want to get all the fun stuff out the way before we.
I'm trying to get attention to sponsor me, so my hat is like sitting
Oh, it's funny because I had my bottle of water. I had my bottle of water on the table before I started the live, and then I was like, you know what? Nah, bro, they don't sponsor me. Like,
here.
I ain't know
We
that that's the
trying.
way to try to get the sponsors, keep it in the shot.
I don't know.
So
I
I'm
don't
like, I
know.
don't know.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
figure it
put it
out.
off
I'll
to
let
the
you know.
side.
Let you know
I
how
was
I
like,
go.
let me just scoop that off. And if you see, this is how I drink my water. Hold up. Not like you can't tell what it is, but I'll be like,
It's
nah,
funny because
no
like
free promo.
on all my videos, I make sure like I have this bottle here, and I'll tag them every single time.
Oh, for real? Oh,
I'll
maybe that's the.
I'll, I'll tag them. I'll add them.
I'm
I don't
taking
know. I
I'm
mean,
taking a page out of your book. Like,
yo, I'm trying
this is
so.
all I drink. Just playing. If you pay me, I'll put a session in the videos. But what's good, bro? I mean, you're new to TikTok, so my first question typically is, what brought you to TikTok? So maybe you could tell the people what brought you to TikTok.
um, I mean, really, what brought me to TikTok was the series. Like, I did a couple of videos. I want to say last year, and I threw it on TikTok just because it was like the new. It was what people were doing, so I'm like, let me try to make a presence. But only until this year, recently, I wanted to actually make a presence and like people like have people learn about who I am through the series that I started. So it's really the series that brought me.
And it's funny because I think it's like so interesting that like what you decided to use as like your mobile mechanism through moving through TikTok and Instagram even because like I think the first time I saw you post it was Instagram. I
Yeah,
think
I was I
you can
was
tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the first time I saw the first episode, it was on Instagram. So what was there a point where you were just like, I think TikTok is a better platform for what I'm trying to do?
You know what it was? The first episode was posted on TikTok, but I kind of was throwing hints out there on Instagram, like I'm gonna start doing the hopeless romantic, confessions. I was posting on Instagram about it
Oh, okay,
with
okay. I think
without
maybe that's what I saw first. I
yeah
think. Okay.
without actually having a path of how I wanted to do it. I just know I wanted to get my stories out there. I wanted to get my growth out there and how I became the person that I am, coming from a 14-year-old kid who knew nothing, was still wet behind the ears.
Right.
Wanting to prosper in a lot of different avenues, but not having any type of experience or putting myself out there. So it that's what the Confessions of a Hopeless Romantic is, because a lot of it is based off of finding love, and it's love for
Is
you know
and not to cut you off, is
yeah.
Confessions of a Hopeless Romantic the same thing or like another like a better name for a sucker for love? Like is that the same thing? Like is a hopeless romantic the same thing as a sucker for love, or is there a difference between those two things?
I think it can be the same thing, um, but I feel like a sucker for love does anything and lets rejection affect them more.
Mm,
You know,
okay.
um, a hopeless romantic
Thank you for the mic.
wants to be you know, in a relationship, wants to find that type of love, so he's not gonna settle. You
So
know,
so for anybody who hasn't seen any of the series and the episodes that you've kind of been putting out, which I did see that you posted a video of basically saying like, "Yo, let's get to 1,000 so we can do this live," which I really like that. I think that version of it would be like if you let's say you post a video and then like you come back that same week and then talk about what you talk about, like people can ask you about it, like that would be dope.
yeah.
Or you just did your stories live and then you could post them later on, which either way would be dope. But so I guess like that for those who haven't seen that or really haven't seen your content like that,
Mhm.
what are some of the stories that they could expect without telling too much and kind of let's make them go check out the actual videos. But what could they expect? What kind of stories?
I mean, if you start from session one, it's pretty much gonna have you follow me from, like I was saying before, the age of 14 when
Oh,
I
it's in
first.
chronological order then.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it starts out me at 14 and witnessing my brother in action.
Okay.
It's probably not the best example,
I
but
mean,
that's all I had to work with.
I like the way you said in action too. So you were being mindful of the wording. So
Right.
yeah, I like
Right.
that. I know this is your
So,
I don't know if this is technically your first time on a live, but yeah, be very cautious of, you know what I mean, the wording and things like that about what you say.
yeah.
TikTok is a little finicky with those things. So
Oh, but since you brought that up, how is it with like profanity on live?
you could curse for sure. The only thing is you can't like, and in this case I wouldn't expect it, but like you can't direct it to someone. And then
Oh
there's
no,
certain words. There are certain words that you be mindful of the communities that it could be, addressing sort of. So you just got to be mindful of those
I
things.
got you.
So I've
Yeah,
seen many of people say and slip up, saying the most what you would think is the most random thing,
but it's
but
directed to somebody.
TikTok will be like, nope, you can't say that, and boop,
Mm,
your account is
oh,
blocked for a couple days. So,
got you.
you know what I
Okay.
mean? 50% to that goal. But go ahead, like tell us. All right, so 14. It's a chronological thing, but like,
Mhm.
all right. So I'm just thinking now. I have a son that's about to be 13. So right in that ballpark of you being 14.
Yeah.
14 year in what freshman year? Is that or is
Um.
that like eighth grade freshman year sort of?
So the 14 was eighth grade. I want to say.
Okay,
Yeah, because I
okay,
was
that makes.
actually on probation. Eighth grade.
See, man.
This is a whole nother type of confession. But no, I was on probation just from some stuff that I did in school and like my
Good
whole
stuff.
eighth grade year, I couldn't leave New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That I mean, yeah. So okay. So but the thing is like when I first heard the name, right?
Hmm.
Confessions of a hopeless romantic. I'm like, what is it? What does that mean? Like, me. I'm on some like names are important, and I'm like, I started
Yeah.
thinking about, does that mean that like you're gonna be telling like the nitty gritty about these situations, and are like are people being exposed, like not exposed, but like are you telling the story and changing names, like what what are we talking about here?
Yeah. So I was actually talking to one of my boys about this, literally probably about an hour ago. Um, so it is the nitty gritty. It's all the dirt. Like it's raw. It's honest. It's completely transparent. Um, like I'll like when I'm telling a story, I'll go through how I'm feeling, and I'll acknowledge any um, idiotic behavior that I might have, taken then.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not ashamed of it, because everybody goes through those stages, and if you're able to grow and um, make yourself better afterwards, then why should you be ashamed of it? Like I'm happy with
So
the stage that I'm
did
at
you
right
do it
now.
with the intention, like was the goal to be, all right, I'm gonna share these stories to kind of do more of like a self-reflection, or was the intention like I'm gonna share these stories with the hope that someone else learns from the mistakes that I made? Like
And
was there one of
yeah,
those more than the other?
it's definitely more so. I'm telling these stories just so people can learn, the right things and the wrong things, because I do both. I do wrong things. I do right things, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'll make it known like I don't condone this or don't do this, or I'll just leave it out there and like you can make that decision yourself. But like um, it's really supposed to be something that people can watch and learn from, but at the same time very entertaining because the stories are entertaining. You
Yeah,
know?
no, I like with one of the edits you did. It started off and it was like you call us Stephanie, and you was like dancing in it.
Yeah.
Like I like all of those like the extra stuff that you add into it, and not just make it like, I'm gonna say I'm gonna tell you a story. Like
Right.
here's what happened to me in third grade. Like
Right.
that's not what it is. There's a like it's true storytelling as well. Like, and you have the extras on top of it. You sprinkle in the extras along the way, which is dope.
I mean, because I find it entertaining. I find all these stories entertaining. So I want people to see these stories how I see them. So I'll throw a lot of extra stuff up there just to, keep them engaged.
Yeah.
Just to get back to what you were saying before, these are true stories. None of this is a facade. None of them are, facades. But I try my best not to expose um, those women that I've been involved with. The only
Smart.
ones that's gonna
Smart.
know,
Smart move.
yeah, like the only ones that's gonna know who these women are the women that I'm talking about. If for
Right.
any reason they actually see
Have
this,
you gotten any of them that saw it and reached out to you yet? Hey, shit,
um, no,
not yet. Okay, good.
no. But
What
I've had
episode
people.
are you on? Like in what number
So I just
story?
posted session 9 tonight.
9. Okay.
Yeah. But I've have had people, you know, message me and like text me like, hey, this is like you're talking about this person and this person is this person. This person is this person. I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, but they know it because they were around, for that, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Um, like I'm all for, the women that are in these stories to see them.
Somebody in the comments said I just jinxed you, but I guess it's my first thought that like as you're saying it, like yo, wait, so you might be changing up and switching up things, but some of them might be watching it as you're posting. I'm like, yo, hold up, don't be telling my story, don't be, you know what I
See,
mean?
but
Like
here's
I
the thing.
depending on how they might look good in the story or they might look, you know what I mean?
I can tell you
I don't know
Stephanie don't look
how
good in the story.
you call
But
her
at the same time, her name isn't Stephanie. No one's gonna know like that story. The only person that's honestly gonna know that story is that Stephanie character and
okay.
myself. Because that was like one of I was in my one and done phase. Like the one night stand
I don't
type.
know. I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I'm just listening as a as a spectator of the sport that you're referring to. One and done. I'm assuming it's
So,
you score a point or a touchdown and one and done. You win the game.
so
That's what I'm
yes.
assuming.
Do you want me to explain it?
Tell me the game because act
Okay.
like you know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Which I have no idea what you're talking about.
Early in, well, not early in, some like towards the middle of these sessions is when I become heartbroken because of a relationship that I thought was going to go somewhere, and I was in love, and I
Hmm.
thought she was in love as well, but it just turned out, we weren't on the same page, and I took it hard. I took it really hard, actually. There's some stuff that I didn't mention in those stories, and I'm thinking I want to go back to it because I took it hard to the point where um, I didn't like. I got into an accident,
Like a car accident.
a car accident that
Okay.
could have been fatal, but it was it was around the time that I broke up with her. But the car accident wasn't because I was trying to. It's just because I wasn't focused.
Mm.
Like I was upset. I was arguing with my sisters because they were telling me I'm acting like you know,
Real
like a.
quick, these are all on the TikTok right now, right? They're all on your TikTok currently.
The sessions are on a TikTok, but this like the whole accident isn't up
Is
there. I
not
might
okay. Okay,
I
this is
might
what
go
you're
back
saying
and
that you
like
might go back and do like a
I might do
episode
like a
3.2 or something
right,
like that. Yeah.
right,
Okay.
right, just to kind of touch on the type of hurt that I was in, because after that story, you're now in the phase of this guy's literally picking up girls just to sleep with them, and that's it.
So now I'm just thinking like this got to be somewhat therapeutic. Like
Hmm.
you know sitting down and talking aloud about your
Yeah.
previous shenanigans. Your previous shenanigan is a little bit therapeutic. And then and maybe sometimes is it triggering even like
in what way?
I don't know. Like I'm assuming, you know, you're recording it. You start sharing a story. You realize there's parts of the story that maybe you want to leave out. Like you're saying now, you might go back,
Hmm.
share that. Like I'm assuming some of it, like especially in this one that you're referring to now, is it wasn't a good place. Like it wasn't a good time.
Right. So yeah, it is therapeutic. Then I would say, um, to the point where while I'm editing these videos, I'm like, nah, this is too much, and I'll take something out.
Mm,
You know, And there's been times where I've completed a whole edit and like I still have all the raw footage and I'm like, no, like this needs to be in here. Like they need to
Yo,
know
once you get to
reason.
1,000, you start doing the subscribers. You could do like separate stuff just for the subscribers that are like, they get the more inside scoop on the story. Maybe like that
All
might.
I'm all I'm saying is there's
Let's
gonna be
go.
stories coming up. There's gonna be stories coming up that are like I honestly shouldn't share. But um that's probably something that I'll do for, certain subscribers.
I
Like we
mean,
you know.
yeah. I mean, I think it's worth. See, the thing is, like and this is where more so when you come to the point where you want to be able to, connect differently with your subscribers, and you want to be able to have maybe a little bit more of a, I don't know, like a one-on-one sort of experience.
Mhm.
And it's not one-on-one; it's with you and all the subscribers. But that's that inside look that they get, by having that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're getting that what what everybody else is getting, the tip of the iceberg. They're getting to see what's underneath,
Right.
which is
Right.
really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. And I keep getting off this topic. I am changing the names of these girls. I
You
don't know
are
if I said that.
there,
Yes.
and I do think that it's key that you refrain from having. And okay, let me. What parts of do you change the stories at all? To more so like I mean it like to protect the
The other part.
the people involved. Yeah.
I have
Have you
not.
or have you haven't? Okay.
I
You
haven't.
haven't needed. You haven't had the
I
reason
haven't.
to at this point.
Honestly, I don't feel like I'll have a need to change certain things because whatever story I share, I'm gonna share it because it's you know for me it's needed to be shared and it's not gonna affect the other party in any kind of way. Um, but the ones that would affect the party, regardless of me changing names or this and that, like I got to figure out how that would go about.
Mm.
Because my thing is,
It's gonna get spicy.
yeah, because my thing is, I'm doing. Uh, my original plan was to write a book, and I was gonna, do like probably three different series of the book, and it was gonna be this. It was gonna be a different title, but before doing that, I figured let me do a live series or like not live yet, but a social media vlog or series
Right.
that I can put some of those stories out there
You
and
know.
see the type of interest
You
it
know,
grabs.
you could always get somebody to transcribe the videos and turn each episode into a chapter. And you could probably have, once you're done, I don't know if you have a plan on how many episodes. Like, for this series, I'm doing 10 episodes and then I'm taking a 4 week break. And that's going to be season one. And then I'll come back, do 10 episodes, take a 4 week break. And I've committed myself to doing at least 3 seasons of Tim's Tuesday. So I don't know if you already have like a goal or a plan of like how you could do that, but I feel like that'd be a great way to easily transcribe the episodes into a book and do some editing, and you got yourself,
Yeah,
you good to go. You could have all three books banged out in a year, basically.
I mean, yeah, that's a good idea.
Bestseller on Amazon. Hello.
I mean, yeah,
Manifest, manifest, manifest.
yeah, I can. I mean, honestly, I can definitely do that. If I was to do that, then it'll probably be about 15 sessions, um, like per book or
Right.
per season.
So wait, did you take the time to like actually plan out the stories, like, or do you like, all right, this is where I was at right here, and then I'll start, this is episode 10 or whatever, like, is that how you're doing it, or you already planned it all the way out to a certain point?
No, I only have it planned, 2 or 3 episodes ahead.
Okay.
Like I'll like right now I know what episode 10 is going to be about, what episode 11 is going to be about, what episode or session 12 is going to be about.
Okay.
Other than that, I know there's plenty of stories, but because there's so much that went on, like I need to figure out what I want to share. And like there's stories that I'm like remembering. I'm like, oh, like I could share this. It's I could there's a lesson here. There's a lesson in this story. Most of the stories that I'm sharing, there are lessons. Some of them may seem like I'm boasting, but you're just missing the lesson in it.
And was the lesson like
Missing
at
the
the end of
message.
the lesson? Is it like the lesson was meant, like I said before, kind of like for someone or like for people to get, or at the end of the lesson, at the end of the session, the lesson is what you learned during that time.
Well, the lesson is what I learned, and at the same time, people can relate. There are people that can relate to, you know, other individual stories.
Right.
So I'm, not at the end of every session because some sessions are being continued. Like session 8 and session 9 is about the same woman.
Mm.
You know,
To be
session
continued, you got to come back for the second part of the lesson, basically.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, because there's so much that went down with, um, you know, certain individuals that I just can't put it all in one session.
Right.
It'll just be too long.
And are you at the point of your story that you're in your adult years now, like in the story of?
So in my story right now, I'm 19.
Okay, so it's early adulthood.
Yeah, early adulthood. Um, a lot happens in 19 in the age of 19.
In that time
Um,
frame.
a lot happens in that time frame. But that following year, when I'm 20, that's when I meet um, my ex-wife.
Okay.
So
So that takes up a big chunk of the story.
that would be like the
Is that going
beginning
to
of
be in
the new
this
season.
in the storyline, or I'm not in the storyline, but you know what I mean? Like, are you going to tell that story as well? Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
assuming you had a conversation with her at least
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean, that's
I
good.
did.
That's a good conversation. I mean, it would
Yeah,
be
no.
dope. It would be dope that like maybe season two, like you get some people to come in and tell their side of the story. Nah, he actually said, but the way I remember it, that'd
Nah,
be
I
like a
mean,
real reality TV show right there. Like
like
now you
honestly,
gotta face everybody. Episode one of season two, you gotta face the person that you spoke about in episode one on season one. Like, oh, and then you
yeah.
gotta.
I mean, and there's a lot of stories that can be told, but any woman that I've actually had like a relationship with, pretty much after my ex-wife, um, are the only ones that I've spoke to about it and like told them, look, like your session is going to be coming up. Um,
How they
I
feel?
mean, I mean,
Any
nobody really
negative?
like no. I haven't gotten any negative point of views or like opinions on it. Some don't want to watch it,
Yeah.
you know, like
Like, nah, I'll skip that episode.
yeah, like
Uh,
some of them don't want to watch it, and then some are curious to see how their session is portrayed. And I tell them all the time it's gonna be portrayed honestly. Like I'm not gonna make myself look good. I'm not gonna make you look
you're trying to be
like
non-biased in telling the story as
yeah,
well. Like, yeah.
yeah. And if I feel like I did something wrong, um, or if I've been told that I did something wrong, like I'm gonna put that out there, that
Okay.
this is the wrong thing.
Do you feel like some like, because I've seen guys tell stories, and it'll be their own stories, but then at the end of it, they'll be like, but, so women, and like they send out the message to ladies, like, don't get caught up in this situation, because if a guy's saying this, he really means this, and it's like exposing, what some guys might be doing, or vice versa, like you're exposing women for certain things or whatever, like whoever's the story that specific episode is about.
Hmm.
Do you feel like there would ever be any kind of backlash from that, like you, I don't know, sharing too much, not about the person but just about specific topics?
I mean,
It's like a soap opera for guys.
yeah, no, I mean, there's so there's a session, the session with Stephanie. I want to say session 6. I want to say session 6. Um, I probably said more than I should have, but at the same time,
In which way though? Like exposing the person or people like that, like like
people like that.
people who behave this way. This
People
is
like
the
that.
yeah.
It was more
Okay.
so like a hygiene thing.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in that session, there's a hygiene problem, and
Okay.
like I just give my reaction at the time, you know.
Go check that
Um,
out.
yeah.
Go check that episode out.
um, but in other sessions, I'm more so exposing. Look, this is how guys are, and especially at this age. And maybe if this is what they're telling you, there can be, an agenda.
Right. So you're giving the what and the why,
Right.
both.
Right.
Okay.
So a lot of these sessions are because of a heartbreak, and I mean, I don't want to give away like the whole plot, but essentially what's happening is you see me not opening up to women,
Right.
and letting my guard down. And
I mean,
and that
not to I know we spoke earlier, and you were like, you could talk about whatever. So
yeah,
I'm gonna get a little personal, like between us, of like personal of a conversation we had once that we were having a conversation. And you shared something with me, and I was like, you don't really have to lie. You know that, right? And it was like, nah, because I don't like it, giving too much of my personal stuff, which I get. But then I was like, some girls are just, if you're honest with them, they'll still rock with you. Like,
right,
you know what I mean? Like,
right.
so have you found over time, like now versus 14, 15, 19-year old you, the difference in doing that? Like, just being raw, sort of like, here it is, this is what it is. And
Yeah, big time. Um, I really started testing that out, or like being that way, I should say, when I got married.
mm,
With her, um, that started to come out a lot more than anything else. Because like I was, like I said, tired of the like scheming. Like I didn't want to have that. Like I want to start that relationship, you know, honest. And um, I think my relationship with her grew at a point because of it. Um,
because of the honesty, you mean?
Honesty,
Yeah.
because of
Okay.
the honesty, um, and somewhere things took a left turn. But
Yeah,
I
I think
feel like
sometimes
being
in
honest is
being
always
honest
about to
is a
go.
great thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's be honest. But also, it's, and this is me speaking from my experience in a previous relationship that I had, is we're being honest, I'm being raw, I'm telling you everything, and you're agreeing with everything. You're going along with these things that I'm saying, and you're agreeing to these honest truths that I feel, and more so you're playing along and you're not actually getting along. Like, you're not doing it because you truly want to do it, or you care to do these things that I'm being honest about. But long term it becomes like a resentment thing, or it becomes like other issues that come along, rather than,
yeah,
oh, we're not both being honest. Like,
right,
I thought we were both being honest.
right,
Right.
right. But and sometimes when it gets to that point, you have to recognize it. As individuals, that it's only going to bring resentment.
Right.
And if I can tell you honestly, this is where I'm at, and if you're not there, maybe it's best to go
Right.
separate ways.
And that's
You know?
basically where it got to. There's something I was just thinking about, as you were like talking about the series. I thought about, like, it's interesting when we first kind of like started working together. The way we started working together was you were going to direct a project, and I was interested in getting started in writing, and you kind of
Right.
gave me my first shot at writing. But it
Well,
was
I wouldn't
funny.
say the first shot because I mean, you wrote a
No,
children's book,
yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, I had some writing experience in the sense
right.
of I should say writing a script. So I wrote
Okay.
a children's book
Like a
previous to that. I
screenplay.
wrote some music, things like that. I've always had a pen in my hand doing some
Right.
type of writing. But that was always something I was interested in. Like, man, I really want to get into that. I would always make jokes with my friends growing up. Like, we should write, that should be a movie. We should write that as a movie. And we have these long tangents of like a 20-minute, 30-minute joke that turned into, yeah, and then you did this, and then I did that. And I was like, damn, that sounds like a movie. We should write a movie.
Right.
And then eventually I was like, I'll never write a script because I have no idea how to even do that.
Right.
And then we met, and then there was nothing. And then a year, maybe 2 years later, you had a post on Facebook or whatever. So with that though, I'm going on a tangent sort of, but
Yeah. No,
I say all of that to say that initially you I still think of you as a director, but now watching your videos, I feel like you're writing and you're doing like storytelling, but it's obviously through the lens of this is I really live this. But
Right.
how have you transitioned from technically a director to writing reality, sort of like you're still telling a story and there's some type of writing component to it?
Honestly, I feel like in order to be a director, you have to be able to at least tell a story.
Mm,
Because like when you're directing, you're behind the camera and you're picturing this is how this is gonna go. Like, and as a director, you need to know if these characters are not being portrayed the proper way. You
right.
know, so I think with being a director and always being sociable, like I've always been sociable. Like I'm always open to talk to people and like learn people and learn different,
Super social butterfly, yes, for sure.
yeah. Like you pick up on some of that stuff. So when it comes to telling the story, you can trigger those personalities and
Right.
tell the story. And as a director, you know when it, portrays as authentic,
Yeah.
if it's believable. So I honestly feel like that goes hand in hand. I just never thought I would be doing like the series type of thing
Right.
until like remember I wanted to write a book. I wanted to just put it down on paper and like be like here, read it.
See,
But now I'm like,
I think
let me
that's what
tell
I
the story.
what I like. So far from like all the guests that I've had on, I noticed that a lot of what we discuss and what they're kind of like known for, or what they're currently doing even, is not always what it started out as. Like for instance, like my idea initially for why I have this equipment, why I have this setup, and all of that was the idea was going to be I was going to do a podcast, and it was essentially like I'm gonna do these recordings, and then eventually I'm gonna post them on a podcast site, whatever. There was this whole thing, and then I found that this format of TikTok worked better because now I don't have to have people come to the studio. We could do this from your comfort. It's easy to connect with more people. Like I could have people that I'd never met, which I've had on the show so far. Like I've had people come on that I'd never met, and I've been able to just have conversations. But also I could do an episode like this where I know you personally, and now I could introduce you to people, via TikTok now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's something that for me it's evolved, and I feel like for you, like it started out as the idea was going to possibly be a book, and
Mhm.
now you're doing this, a different media format
Right.
that who knows what that's going to even turn into. Somebody hears it and like we got to tell this story now. It's
Right.
a show and or a movie or something. Like there's so many different things that could happen and how these things evolve. So I think that's dope.
When I was actually originally, thinking about how do I want to get these stories out, I was looking into Twitch. And I'm like,
Oh.
I don't know how Twitch works. I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like right away live because I don't know if I can handle like the live telling the story. Like I want it to be able to tell my story and make it
Retract some of it.
well. No, no, it's not even that. It's just make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because like when we start talking, like we just go on a rant.
Yeah.
There's stuff in sessions that I took out a good 3 minutes of me doing up like something in there where it's just like it's unnecessary.
Right.
It doesn't really pertain to the message, and if it doesn't pertain to the message, I take it out. But
And see,
if
it's
it's
interesting because
live,
that format for me, I used to do this series actually originally started a few years ago. I tried this for YouTube, but I what I didn't like about it was that and not necessarily this specifically, but something like this. But the idea was that I wanted to have the interaction, right? And when I would do my videos, it was just me and I had people like would email or send me a message about a topic and I would talk about the topic, which was cool,
right?
but then I would have to sit and edit, and I'm like, man, this format doesn't work for me because I what I need to thrive is the dialogue. It is to have the conversation and feed off of each other. So
And a
for
lot of
me, this format worked better.
yeah, yeah,
So I definitely understand that.
yeah. But I mean, started out thinking Twitch, but then once I started looking more into like what I had available and what I used, because I posted a couple videos on TikTok, I'm like, I could just make cool videos. Like I'm a director, I edit videos. Like
Right.
why wouldn't I utilize that skill and to trying to build, my stories that way
Yeah.
instead?
And yeah, I think that's what the first time I saw one of the videos, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like he's using your director's skill to tell the story, because I noticed the editing and things like that. So I'm like, oh, this is cool, because if this was just like a straight story, like regular, like I said, like somebody just put the camera on and whatever, there might not be all that like added stuff that you add to it that gives it like the life
Right.
to like really feel it, and maybe empathize with it, or be like, yo, this dude's a clown, or like whatever,
Right.
like all those like little things you might
Right.
not be able to capture into the story if you didn't do it the way you are, which I
Right.
think is a great way to tell a story.
Yeah. And I
So
think
that
my
was dope.
first challenge was putting out that first video. My first video, like, if you look at my first video compared to my session 9, session 1 to session 9, there is a big difference. Like, it's not as fun. It is fun, but it's not as fun because that's my first video,
Right.
putting out there. So it had its good moments, but my challenge was everybody telling me these are too long.
Mm.
They're like the first edit that I had, I took a 20-minute video and broke it down to like 8 minutes. You know,
And they
so
said that was too long.
the 8 minutes, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, this is the story. Like, there's no other way I want to put it out there.
Yeah, it's
So
like it's like a long form content. Like there's a place for it. Like it's just a matter of taking pieces of the that version and sprinkling it on your viewers, and then
yeah,
makes them go watch the full
right,
version of it. So yeah,
right.
there's ways that you can
And,
do that.
and I feel like the stories itself can be entertaining enough to keep you there, and then the time
Somebody
will go
somebody
by.
said it's a short film, and I think it's funny because we've done the short film stuff. So
Uh-huh.
the fact that like an 8 minute, that's true. It's basically a
Yeah,
short film. Like,
yeah. Short
so
films can be
let's
anywhere
just
from
turn them
five
all
minutes
into
to
short
20.
films.
Yeah,
Let's turn them all into short films.
yeah.
That'd be dope.
But yeah, like that was my first challenge because I had pretty much everybody saying this is too long. It's like 8 minutes, and I'm like, just start watching it. If you start watching it, maybe you'll finish it.
Right.
And people do eventually, start. And most people that find get through it, and they're like, no, it was actually good. And then like the next one is even better. It's even better. The next one even better
Mm,
because I learned more and I learned how to make it more entertaining,
right.
for viewers. But at the same time, still putting that authentic story out there.
Right.
I'm not changing myself or the story just to make it entertaining. I'm just giving you what it is and giving you the splash.
Right. And I
You
see. I
know?
think like most people will have would have taken, and this is a lesson now. Most people would have taken the criticism and just been like, all right, well, let me shorten it up. Let me make it into, instead of 10 episodes out, or whatever, 15, it'll just be 47, because I'll just do 2 minute clips, telling these little itty bitty parts of the story, and kind of spoon feed you and keep bringing you back, bringing you back.
Mhm.
But when it's real, and it's just the purpose of it is to share the experience, and hope, and the hope is that you're affecting someone in a positive way with the story. That part of it is not necessary. Like, if when it's real, you don't got to worry about that. So I feel like that's is really good that you still push through, and that challenge is now, that's all it was. It was a challenge, and now I'm past it, and now I'm putting it out, and I'm doing the work, sort of. And I think
Right.
about like the first time I did this, it was literally like a group of people who were like, um, yo, you got to do it. And I keep talking about doing this series, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And like, no, you're starting it today. And like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I don't have this ready. I don't have that ready. I don't.
Right.
There's a bunch of things that I want to do and have in place. So if you go back to episode 1 of this, you'll see I'm just sitting on the chair with a plain background, and then like
Mhm.
the next episode is something added, and by like I think
Right.
it's episode 4, the setup was more what it is now, and then the mic, and there was one of, I think episode 3, I had the mic and the headphones, and then I started the live, and I'm like, I can't hear anything, and then I take it off. It's coming out the iPad. I'm like, all right, whatever. Going without it. Just continued the live, and
Mhm.
then when I finished everything and I'm about to shut off the lights in the studio, I look and there's one wire just hanging that I never connected. Then I'm like, bro, what? Like, come
I
on.
mean,
You
you
kidding
learn,
me?
you
Like,
learn, you live,
what?
you learn.
But that exactly, that's my point. Like, you learn from those things, and now, before I start now, I'll be like, okay, why,
Yep.
why? Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's talking to that's connected. All right, good. I'm good to go. Let's go.
Mhm.
But you learn from it, and then the value sort of, and I think, as like for the viewers and people who tune in, or go back and like, you know what, they catch maybe your first episode is episode 9 that they see, and they're like, where did this story even start? And they go back to 1 and they're like, yo, this guy came a long way from where he is now to this, like.
Right.
And I
Compare.
think people like to see that progression. I think people get inspired. I get inspired by that. Like I know when I was watching more videos on YouTube and things like that, I would watch somebody, they started doing their videos in their car, and now they're like in a studio, and then
Oh
there's
yeah.
the car is different now. Like, like
Yep.
that progression, and you see them, that growth it is inspiring, rather than seeing somebody in the Lambo and they're like, yeah, I've been doing this, and it's like, how'd you get a Lambo though? Like, tell me that story. Like, I want
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's inspiring, but did
What did you
somebody just
start
buy
out in?
you it? Yeah, like what was the first car? Was
Right.
what, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like some people want that instant success and not know that there is a progression
There's
to this.
there's a lot of grind to it, And I mean, like I get a lot of people telling me, like they love the stories, like they feel like I'm doing something great. And for me, I'm like, I'm just telling these stories, like because for
Right,
me, it's like you said, it's therapeutic. Like I've accepted my wrongdoings, back in the day, and I've accepted them to the point where I'm able to or willing to share the story to try to help somebody realize, okay, that's not the route to go. You
right,
know, like there's benefits in these stories, and there's a lot of heartbreak, you know, to both parties.
yeah.
Um,
So what outside of the series that you have going on now? What are some other things that, like, you some goals, or like things that you have in the works that you want to see come to life?
Connected to the series or outside
Yeah,
of it?
no, no, no. Outside of the series, like I know, like, and if it's just a series right now, like that, for me, I have a few different things that I want to do. I'm using the series sort of as a platform to grow my following and have content and things like that. Hey, yo, that's popping. um, but like those are just things that I'm using kind of as a stepping stone, and I have a few other things that I'm doing as well. Is there anything outside of the series right now? Do you have another series in mind, something separate? Like, um, what
I
other
mean,
things do you have in mind?
as far as the series, no. There's like small things like I have two little 15 to 30-second clips that I'm gonna be I'm gonna start posting.
Okay,
It's kind of like a tip of the month or like a secret of the month, and I'm gonna like spill some beans, you
dope.
know.
I like that.
It's just gonna
So
be like a
so
quick.
so so you are gonna kind of move to a short form version
Oh,
of content as well.
right, right,
Okay, dope.
right. There'll be a short for a form of it, and it's just literally gonna be like, yo, I can't believe he said this shit. Like you're not supposed to tell women this, or like women gonna
You
be
can't
like,
you
why
can't
you
say
putting this
that.
like why you putting this out there? Like you know what I mean? So it's one of those. It's one of those. Like I like exposing the the flaws.
Yeah.
Oh,
And see, I like the idea, like I said before, about having an evolution to it. Like, so you start off with the long form, you start doing some short form stuff, and for me, even, like, I'm still, and this is what I encourage people. I'm like, yo, you should try as many different things as you think could work for you. Like, I've done a couple videos that are like fashion, sort of like men's fashion. Like, I throw my clothes out and then I throw it on, and that's one video. I've done some of the like motivational kind of like speaking to the camera, or doing the sound bites. Like, take a sound bite and do something with that. I started this little. I always see people do the lip sync videos on TikTok, and they be
right,
having like so many followers that's all their videos.
right,
But I see some of them, and they're cringy to me. Like, oh man, they're not even synced up. Like, if I did
right,
that, I wouldn't
right.
do it like that. And then I'm just like, I'm not even touching that. That's something that I'm not even gonna touch. So, what I started to do was find other ways to do like the lip sync stuff, or the ones that are like trending or viral, sort of, right? So I actually did, it's like the coworker series, sort of, right? So what I do
Yeah,
is
I saw
I don't
that.
know if you've seen it before, where I like play the audio, but it's me reacting to the person saying it
Yeah,
off
yeah.
camera. So like, yeah, I don't have to necessarily lip sync to get
But it's more like a reaction,
right.
Yeah,
Exactly, it's more of the that part. And then
Right.
for me as an actor, and like that's something that I want to do down the road more of, which I have done, but I want to do more of it. I feel like that's one of the ways that I could continue to work that skill set.
Yeah.
Like doing that.
I
For
think.
you, I know you also do. Yeah, I was about to say like you also do some acting too. So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting to that there. So is that something that you're doing more of?
Right. Yeah. I do like I play like extras in like shows and film and um, uh, reality TV. You know,
Okay.
um,
I mean, can you talk about that?
I can
You
if you
could,
want.
right? I mean, you should definitely talk about that so people could go check out that project. I mean, it's
Yeah,
somewhere, right? Like they could go and see it. It's aired already, right?
yeah. It's
Okay,
aired. It's
let's
on.
talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So
A little
actually,
bit,
just to give you
just enough to go get them to watch it.
yeah. So um, it's on Lifetime.
Okay.
Like if you have the Lifetime app, it's called
Some people are already sold on this. Lifetime, they're there. Like,
yeah, right.
say
um,
less.
the show's called Five Guys a Week. So essentially, it's
Hey
five guys
yo, imagine.
living. Yeah,
Hey yo.
it's five guys living and living with this woman, and she goes one by one to see who she wants to date. You know,
Okay.
um, it's it was interesting. It was interesting to see, to be in front of the camera and like
Yeah.
seeing how things actually happen and how it actually works. Um, but yeah, you can go up there and check it out. I
So
think
reality
I'm,
TV, how much of it is scripted? Because I know that's what people are gonna go watch the episode and then see you, and be like, how much of this is scripted? Like, how much did they tell him to say or do or?
see. All right, so they didn't tell me not to say anything, so I guess I can share. I can tell you when it came to like the interview, like the audition, I should say. When it came to the audition, like I gave them some information about myself, and they chose me based on some of those things,
Okay.
and they wanted me to run with those. Gave them some information about myself, and they chose me based on some of those things,
Okay.
and they wanted me to run with them. I'll
Okay. So
do
they
that.
knew. Okay. So
Like
they knew
that's the
like this
character they want
this
me to
based
be.
on the other characters or not characters, the other people that they picked.
Right.
This was gonna either mesh well or not mesh well
Right.
with. Okay. I got it. I like that.
So they like I took those things that they wanted me to talk about, and like when they do the one-on-ones, they'll ask you specific questions about those topics so they can get that answer. So that way, depending on how far you go in the show, like now they have this character, like this is what he likes, and this is what he's into, you know.
Okay.
But if you look at the episode, um, like you'll get an idea of like the route that I was gonna go. Um, but I'll just let people watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask another question about it, but then I'm like, nah, that might give away too much. We want people to go check it out. So it's
Yeah.
called Five Guys in a Week, and it's on
5 guys a
Lifetime.
week.
Five
Or
guys
it's
a
either Five
week.
Guys a week or Five Guys 1 week, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not
But
Five Guys, the burger spot is.
yeah, no, no. So a crazy story about that. Afterwards, I spoke to the girl that was on the show, and she was giving me like some crazy insider on like what was actually happening with her, behind cameras or
Okay.
behind closed doors. Um, and it's wild because like producers they make sure the show is entertaining, you know, regardless of how someone's actually feeling.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Which I think I've always felt like that. Like I personally don't watch reality TV because I'm like, yo, I'm living life and my life is
yeah.
like a damn
So
show.
the thing is, it is reality. It's just it needs to make sense to be on TV.
Right.
You know.
But I mean maybe not so much that specific like show, but I
Hmm.
mean like shows like um long form reality. Like that's like a one off episode, and then I'm sure that the next episode is all new character, all new people like involved. So it's a little less needed to be scripted in that case because it's a one off. But I think like in a show like the Kardashians or something like that,
Yeah.
like some of that stuff has to be planned out and well scripted enough to be like okay, that's not gonna make sense.
Right.
How about you do it like this, and then that will make sense as we get down to the
And that's
birthday in
how it
three
is.
months. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that we know that's your birthday. Like it has to make sense for that. Let's
Right.
plug that now or something like
Right.
that. Like
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much how it works, you know. The producer is always going to make the show make sense. And like sometimes things you say can affect that, you know, things that you do might affect, you know, the outcome despite how the other person's feeling. Like, again, like producers make the show what it is.
right.
There's a lot of reality behind it, but there's some direction given, you know.
Okay,
But
so I won't without telling the story,
mhm.
or like the episode. Were you happy with the outcome of your how you were perceived or shown to be on the episode? Like were you cool with it?
It wasn't me, but I was cool with it just because, like, you know, I got a chance to experience it.
Okay,
You know,
so it was
uh,
more for the experience of
yeah. What I didn't like though, and I'll put this out there,
yeah. Talk about it.
um,
Talk about it.
the girl who was on the show did like a live, um, did like a kind of like a podcast, like
Yeah.
an interview thing with one of the guys who was on the show, and
Is this
she
after the
really
episode
gave.
came out?
Mhm.
Okay.
This
Okay.
after it aired, and she gave some information about me that was like completely wrong, like to the point where
Like she just made it up.
she made me seem like a dog, like a straight dog.
You a dog, roof.
Yeah, you know. But like, and it's crazy because I remember what conversation I had with her, and even after the show, I had this conversation with her. But yet she goes on this podcast and then she starts saying, "Well, this is what he was about."
Oh,
This
now
is
we got to put this
I'm
footage
like,
out in response to it. Yo, let's start a
like,
let's
bro.
start a
Nah,
reality TV. You know what I mean? Let's get the
it was
ratings up.
it was just messed up
Tune
because
in,
like
Tim's Tuesday. Mark L.
right. Nah, it was just messed up
Exposing.
because like you know, a lot of people know that story and then they go and see that video and they're like, they even tell me like, bro, like why did she do that? And I'm like,
Where's that video at?
I don't know, YouTube.
YouTube.
I gotta find it. Yeah, find it.
You got it. What you got to do is get the video, right? And then do a response video on TikTok to that video. Like take a snippet of it and then be like, let me explain my side of the story. And then use that as content, man. Like
Yeah, no, it is,
I mean,
and it's
you were
controversial.
on a show that's on the air. Like you wasn't just a background. Like you see the back of your head. Like I did an
Yeah,
episode of a show, and all you saw was like right here. Like I was like, yo,
yeah,
that's me right there. That
yeah,
that
like
that guy right there, that's me.
I was mic'd up, everything. So,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You need that.
but you know, just to jump off topic or back to the topic before, I do acting as well, or you know,
Right,
I'm trying to get into that, and I feel like the series that I'm doing currently on TikTok um, can put my personality out there, you know, and like my range of you know, delivering emotion,
right.
so to speak, you know.
Do you cry in any of the episodes?
No,
All right,
but
we're gonna need that in episode 10.
yeah, like yeah, we got
I'm
to
gonna
do
need
that.
you to cry in episode 10 so we really see the range.
No, but it's to the point where people watch it and um, they're like why like my girlfriend, she was like, why are you so like connected to it now, like why are you talking about it as if it's happening to you right now? And I'm like,
You're reliving it.
nah, it's just like that's how people are going to be engaged, you know,
Oh,
like
okay.
that's how they
So
can
okay.
relate. Like if you watch somebody and they're talking about an experience and like there's no emotion and it's supposed to be a sad experience or it's supposed to be something that was devastating or funny, and you're not getting that from them, you're not hearing their words,
Right.
you know. I mean, you're hearing them but you're not, you know,
They're not gonna connect with the story the same
no,
way.
no,
No
they're
way.
not. So I feel like when I do tell a story, I put myself back in that situation, you know, just so when it comes to editing, like I know what to take, like what to use, because this is gonna touch somebody. This is gonna, you know, reach out to like somebody else's emotions. Like they'll
Right.
understand it if I said it this way, you know, and not just like, oh yeah, and then like, you know, her coochie was stinking, so I couldn't perform any oral. Like nah. Like I'm
Right.
gonna give you the actual story on. I'm gonna give you details on like, yo, this is what happened, and this is what I was thinking. This is what I smelled like, and
I
be
mean,
in the moment.
that is the best way to. It's within the details, and especially that the initial idea was to be a book. A book would have to be descriptive enough to get somebody to really tap into it and be like, oh man, like leaning into a book. That only happens if drop the fishies in the comments. Um, that will only happen if you were being descriptive enough to get people involved and
Right.
leaning into the story. So yeah, I definitely agree. Like and that for me is more so like in writing a script, right? Like it's what the character says, and
Right.
sometimes it's what they don't say. It's to look into the camera, look away, the you know what I mean? Like all of those like little details that really sell the story and you know that you have to really do to get that. I'm laughing now because it's a good source of protein.
Yeah, not if it's rotten.
Cheese you a wild boy for
Yeah, not if
that.
it's rotten though. But so like here's the thing with my series. Uh, if you're the type that can't handle vulgar content and like being very transparent is not for you.
Okay.
Like I
That's
don't
a good
hold back.
question. I actually didn't think that I should ask, but that like sometimes where I'm trying to get people to you know to tap into certain type of content, but the reality is that it not all content is for everybody. So
Right.
you know that's a good point. Like who's it not for? It's not for somebody who is you know not scared but doesn't like to hear certain things or
Right.
discuss certain things, which is similar to the series that we Jessica and I just started, Taboo Thursdays, which is like talking about some of the things that aren't usually talked about when it comes to you know either personal development or relationship development and how you know people interact with each other, whatever type of relationship that is. Some people don't like talking about certain things, you know, like no, we can't talk about that. Like
Right.
cut that off, shut that down. Like not doing that.
And I'm the type of person that I'll talk like you know me.
Yeah.
I'll talk
Oh,
about
I know.
anything. Like if you want to hear something, like we'll have that conversation.
Yeah,
you know?
if you want to get uncomfortable, we can get uncomfortable. Like I'm totally with that. Like
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
anybody
know.
that's dealt with me knows that. So they're prepared to like watch these videos and be like, I know he's gonna say some crazy shit. You
No,
know? And
I
then
definitely like the first time. Like I said, the first time I was like, oh, and then I saw that the other one. I'm like, oh, this is okay. Like you know what I mean? Like those are some of my responses. Like, okay. Like
yeah.
that's why I said like when I reached out to you, I'm like, it would be cool to get more people exposed to it because I just think more people will relate to those stories. Um, either one experiencing them right on
Mhm.
one of the sides because of that story, the story that you're telling, there's two people involved every time, right? So I might be on one side of that story in some of the episodes, and sometimes I'll be on the other side of it, and either way, either I might like the side that I'm on, or I might be like, yo, you know what I mean? Like I might feel some type of way about what you're talking
Right.
about and what you're
Right.
exposing, and
Right.
either
Right.
way, that's good content. Like
Right.
that's what we want essentially.
It's good is good content because it's true.
Right.
You know? Like I'm
Yeah.
not making any of this stuff up. Like the things that I talk about actually happen, you know. And it's wild to think about all the stuff that I've been through and like dealt with. Like there's gonna be sessions where I talk about how like I could have gotten into some like big trouble, like beat up or shot or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
To the point where somehow I get myself out of these situations. But the lesson is don't follow my footsteps.
Now,
Like you
now
shouldn't be
those
doing those
specific
things.
situations you're referring to are somehow related to relationship stuff, like with women. Like these are the so this is yeah,
Yeah.
this is see.
Yeah.
Normally I hear that I'm thinking, I he's into some street stuff and boom boom, he's moving around, kind of wild in the streets. But
I mean,
it
it's
is
wild in
wild in
the
the
street.
streets because you
Right.
wilding in the sheets.
Right.
That's really
Exactly.
what it is.
Exactly.
That's a
So
different different situation for sure.
yeah.
Like
Yeah. I've definitely got myself out of couple of like crazy situations, and I've put myself in crazy situations where it just wasn't worth it, you know. And that's really the message behind those stories that's going to be coming. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it, you know. Um, yeah. So
I was about to say, the fried fish is not worth it. Like, go to a different
yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. Go get you a fillet.
Get it somewhere.
Get you-
Get it somewhere else.
yeah.
Don't take somebody else's fish. Is basically what we're saying. Is that could be? I'm just assuming that's where the
I
story.
mean, I mean, like the sessions. So at session 8 and session 9 was somebody else's fish.
Mm.
You know.
You can't go fishing in somebody else's pond,
Yeah. No.
Markel.
Yeah. Nah. You're not supposed to. You're not
Don't
supposed
do
to.
that.
But my rod cast pretty long though. You know, like I couldn't help it. That shit went over there, bro.
Hit it with the
Like.
extendo. He said when you're fishing, this
Like
turned into
when
a
I
this
threw
this
it.
turned into a fishing episode. So basically, what we're saying is there's plenty of fish in the sea, and you shouldn't fish in another fisherman's pond.
Stay in
Is
your
is
backyard.
basically yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. Don't go chasing. Yeah, don't do that.
Facts.
Like, stay in your own pond.
Yeah.
Cast a line in your own pond, and
Yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of situations like that because like me at that age, especially 19, the only females that I didn't pursue were those of my friends, women.
from the friend group, it was like, all
Right.
right, no, that's a
Yeah,
no.
like, oh, like, so and so. Like, even honestly, even if they knew him, I'm like, I don't want to really, go that route.
Yeah, because
And I,
you don't know what really transpired in that point. Like,
right,
she
right,
could be
exactly.
lying. He might be
And
lying.
like, you can, and in one of the sessions, I even mentioned like, I didn't even want to date anybody that I went to school with. Like, I just didn't want to be in that realm. No, I focused my attention on girls who were outside of my
So
district.
so I guess it's just we're talking about. I know you already mentioned you have a lady. So, but
Mhm.
just in general, do you have a type? Is there a type that Mark L prefers?
Yes.
There is.
Mhm.
What is that type?
uh, confident. Um, I like confidence and I like security, meaning like they're very. I don't want to say no insecurities because everybody has their own insecurities, but I want I don't want your insecurities to affect the trust in a
Mm,
relationship. You know, um, I I love a woman who's confident, who's sure
mm.
about herself, and who is caring. Um,
I like what you're doing right now. I'm not gonna lie. I
what's
like what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and I like it.
no, actually, what I'm
I
doing,
like it.
actually, what I'm doing is I'm
Not,
describing my girlfriend. Let's just put that out there, okay? Let's just put that out
I like
there.
what you're
I'm
doing.
I'm
Uh,
describing Lolo, okay? But
and no, but one thing you didn't say was
mhm.
surface layer things was what I'm saying. I like what you're doing, and it's
Oh,
more skin deep. It's more
oh,
personality traits. It's more,
oh,
you know what I mean. I like that
oh.
aspect of it. I
Oh.
mean, I don't know if that was the intention or
I
not.
wasn't trying to avoid it. I just didn't get to that point. That's what you want to hear.
You're working down the list. I get it. I like where you're going. I like it.
So no, all right. So here's the thing. Um, when it comes to that, my my type has a lot to do with the confidence,
Mm,
like because I like a lot of different type of looks, And in one of my sessions, I say I'm attracted to a lot of different types of women because it's true. But if you're gonna be, if you're not gonna have confidence in yourself and how you look, I'm not interested.
So I one thing I've always said about you, and then we've had the joke in the past, like when we first met, we technically lived together first, like we got to know each other
Right.
by living like as roommates. um, but like you have a very unique
Yeah,
style,
that was a
like
good time. I'm just gonna throw
it
that
was
out
it
there.
was
That shit was fun. That shit was like a lot of
an equal. My sister said he is an equal opportunity lover, absolutely.
fun.
Um,
Oh shit.
so So the thing was though, that you had a unique style. So sometimes I think about like for me personally, like my style, um, has to be kind of matched. Like, and in the past when I tried to overlook my style not being matched, it didn't work out. So like me and Jess, like our style is very similar. Like when we go out,
Hmm.
like it's very similar, and your style is so unique. Is that something that you look for in someone else? Like, do you want them to have like a very, um, I don't want to say like not the traditional I'm gonna just so I have an example for people who don't know you and never met you in person.
Okay.
Like Mark L owns a pair of all black cowboy boots that I've never seen somebody from where we're from own, and I was like, yo. Them boots, like they're crazy, and I know you get crazy. Like it's a conversation starter almost.
Sure.
Like you're not a short dude. Like you. How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet.
6 feet. So 6 feet with the cowboy boots on, black dude with the cowboy boots is like Jersey. You know what I mean? Like is
Chicago
definitely
Bulls at like 6'1", 6'2". Just throw that out there. You
with
know.
the cowboy boots on, 6'2".
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So like I know that style is very like, and it's not always flashy, but at the same time, like for me, like I want my person to match my style. So I'm curious that I don't think that's something that we ever spoke about. Like, have you found that that is something for you that kind of could be a make or break, or not really?
No. Um, and I keep I keep reverting back to this because it actually means a lot. My style, I'm confident in my style. Like
Right,
I love my style.
right.
There's no female that can come to me and be like, I don't like how you dress. You got to change that. I'll throw up deuces and be on
I'm
my
out.
way.
Right.
Yeah, because like my style is my style. Like either you like it or you don't. You know, and that's what I want in a female. Like I don't need her to have to match my style necessarily, um,
Match
but I
my
want her.
confidence.
I want her to have confidence in her style.
Mm,
If she's plain Jane, be a sexy plain Jane. You know,
be
if you're
confident in it. Like,
yeah. If you're the type to be tatted up and like piercings everywhere, do the best version of that of
right.
you because that's who
That's
you want to
dope.
be. If you want to be the girl who's in peak coats and like big scarves, do that. But be
Like with
confident.
Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah. You want to yeah, exactly. You want to go to Starbucks, every morning. Like be comfortable in your own skin. That's really what I look for. I like all different types of styles. Like if you look at my ex-wife, you look at a couple of the ex-girlfriends,
Well, I
my
guess that's why
girlfriend
I
now,
have
different.
seen, and I think that's one of the things that I thought about is like there are very different styles, and then I know your style. So like I wonder if, again, for me, that is something that is important. That it wasn't for a long time, and it was more like it's not a big deal. But then I know we're getting ready to go out. I'm putting my shit together, and then I look over and I'm like, you gonna wear that? Just you gonna put that on? Oh no, 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 it's fine. It looks fine. But then we get out, we start taking pictures, and I'm like, man, like you ain't even try to like meet me. You know what I mean? Like,
All right,
you know what I
so
mean? Like in that way, I feel like that's where when I say like the styles
okay,
matching and you know what I'm saying? Like when
sure.
I go out, me and my girl, we match. And I feel like if
Yes,
we
yes,
ain't
yes,
I
yes,
feel like
yes.
when we're not matching, it's like there's a problem at home. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if I see a couple out and they don't match, I'm like trouble in paradise. You know what I
So
mean?
now
Like
when I see Jess, if you don't got on something to match you, I'm gonna know
yeah,
you fucked up.
yeah. If I'm wearing one thing and it's totally off, you already know what's going on. Like
No, so okay, I can agree with that. I think even though there are different styles in my past relationships, my relationship now, we do find each other matching our fly. You know,
now,
yeah, yeah.
currently,
No,
okay,
like I mean, before even
okay.
before, like, when I was with my ex, we matched our each other's fly all the time. We had different styles, but if you saw us walking down the road, you're like, oh, you guys match, but it's still different styles. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
Um, and even my girlfriend now, like her style is different. She calls me a hippie, no hipster. She calls me a hipster.
Give off
And
hipster vibes. That jacket is very hipster.
stop,
But
because
people call me a
she
hipster
sees this.
too.
She
Like
sees
certain
this,
things.
she's gonna
So
be like, "See, you're a hipster." Like,
certain things that I've more and I get the hipster, but I get it because my style is so different. Like some days you might see me, I'm like dressed up, and then some days I'm like dressed super down, like jeans, hoodie, whatever. But then there's days that like I'm on some like I want to be very spiritual. I'm gonna wear all white today, like you know what I mean. Like
Right.
I need a Scully and I got a Namaste Scully that you know what I mean. Like
I mean,
I might
and
have a laser on my
that's
eye,
cool.
like you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, but that's cool because like you have multiple styles, and I feel like I can be the same way.
Yeah,
You know, like sometimes I'm in a peacoat. You know, sometimes I'm in a hoodie and like boots. You know, sometimes I'm in like active wear. You know, just because like that's just how I'm feeling. You
right.
know, um, but the first time I met my girlfriend, like we actually went out to eat, she was calling me a hipster because like I had my coat, I had my my
What
casual
what was
pants.
she wearing that I feel like
That,
most
that's the thing. She was actually matching my fly.
she
When
was
I
in
met her, she had a pink coat,
she was also in a hipster outfit.
literally, in a hipster outfit. And when she said, I'm like, have you
Well,
looked in
does
the
she
mirror?
categorize herself as a hipster?
No, no,
What
not at
okay,
all. She
she
would never categorize herself as a
if she
hipster.
thinks you're a hipster, what does she think she is?
She thinks she's like traditional.
Trendy. No, not trendy.
I don't know. She's a hipster.
She thinks she has her own style, not realizing
She is a hipster. Like, yeah.
she is a hipster as well.
Like literally when I met her, she had the pea coat on, she had the big scarf, and she looked like she came from Starbucks. Which, in my
You were
opinion,
like, did you just come from Starbucks?
like you smell like
Is that
Thai tea. Like, like,
were you just drinking a cappuccino?
yeah, like in my opinion, like that's hipster. So like
Now,
that's
the further extreme of a hipster, she would have said Starbucks. I just came from a mom and pop coffee shop. Like, I would never. That's like next level. Like,
yeah, yeah, it is
you
actually.
crazy?
Yeah, but no, I mean like I like all types of styles. And yes, I feel like matching is important as you described it
Yeah.
because it does make sense. Like we do match a lot. Um, is it all the time? Not all the time, but like a couple times that me and her went out, I feel like we were matching in some way, shape, or form.
So you talked about confidence now. You talked about confidence earlier in like your progression. And again, knowing you in person, that's one thing that I always even when we went into business was one of the things for me was like a kind of like a I'm I would go into business with this guy because of your confidence, and we kind of got to a point where when we went out to do networking and stuff like that, I'd maybe introduce and then I would we had like a thing like and I kind of like dish people off to you, and be like Dustin's gonna get your information, but it was because the way that your confidence would be like yeah so and then you would take over and you know what I mean like you did that very well,
Hmm.
so in talking about confidence, what is it what's something that you would share for somebody who's struggling with confidence? How does somebody find that?
How does somebody find confidence?
Yeah, like how do like if that's say somebody's watching, they're in the comments or they watch this in the future and they're like, man, that's something he keeps talking about this confidence thing, man. That's something that I need. What would be that thing that what's one piece of advice, you know what I'm saying, that you could share with them to help them get to be as confident or more confident, maybe not as confident,
Honestly,
but just more confident.
you have to stop worrying about how you look. And I'm not talking like physically and like clothes and stuff. Like if you want to give somebody some information or you want to converse with somebody, you have to stop worrying about, do I look like a fool? Like when I speak to them, like you have to just give them who you are. You know, um, stop being afraid of rejection. That's one thing that I talk about in my series. Like when it comes to like meeting women and like talking to women, stop being afraid of rejection. You can't be afraid of rejection because you're supposed to get 10 times the rejection than you get, exceptions. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, so in that sense, right? Like not being scared of rejection, was that something that built up like you built up a tough skin to that because you had so many rejections? Like at one point was it like enough rejection that you're like, what's one more?
Well, my first encounter was a not a rejection, but it was a big fail, like huge fail. Um, but just because the type of person that I guess I've always been, like I told myself, you know what, I'm not doing that again. Meaning like I'm not gonna fail in that way. Like I'm gonna keep pushing. I gotta find a different avenue to get to where I want to be. But I'm not gonna curl up in like a fetal position and you know wither away type of thing.
Yeah.
But have I gotten a lot of rejections? Absolutely. Like in one of the sessions, I speak of how I'm messaged so many females on Facebook at the time. I could probably go on my Facebook and scroll all the way to like that year and just see message after message after message, and only like one or two girls would like respond, you know. But
So
that's
so,
just the
it's,
type
so,
of.
so you definitely were using the law of averages. Like if I connect with 100, I'm
If I get rejected from
always
100,
jacking
I
the
got a
box.
good one.
I'm gonna get one really good one in there if I.
No, but and the thing is, after getting that one, you start to not even notice the rejections.
Now, so I know we're talking in somewhat of the context of relationships, sort of, or dating,
Hmm.
but that is something that you and I have learned through sales as well. Like that is our background initially and how we met with sales. And what you're talking about is it really is strategic like tactic sort of, or like the way you should look at sales, and it is something for me personally that I've kind of instilled that if I'm getting a bunch of no's, I'm no, 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 no. Okay, we've been programmed to that point now to say, okay, a yes got to be coming. There's only so many times you could hear a no, even if it's from 100 people. That
Right.
mean 101, you're gonna get 10 yeses in a row. Like
Hmm.
if you went 100 people and they all said no, that means you're about to get 10 yeses in a row.
Hmm.
So I think like I just want to kind of point that out for people. Like the context that we're talking about, it's actually sort of a universal law that if you're starting a business, if you're trying to get into the dating scene, if you're trying to start something on TikTok or whatever it is, continue to try. If that didn't work, try something else. That didn't work, try a new thing. Like keep
Right.
pushing and pushing from something new, something new, something new. One of those things is gonna hit. But if you stop after the first or second one that failed, that's when you fail. And
Right.
that is the saying of if you would get knocked down 9 times, you get up 10, whatever.
Right.
It's the law of averages, right? Like we have to work a certain amount of no's to get to a yes. So
Right.
I really like that. That's like, for me, like that's not something that I typically think about sharing as like personal development,
Hmm.
but when we're
It,
talking about the context of relationships, it works, but it also
it
works
does.
in so many other things too.
And I mean, for those who have seen session, I want to say session 8 or 7, I actually mentioned I was in sales. I learned a lot in sales, and I started utilizing that in my conversation with women, and like introducing myself to women with women, and knowing what to say and like how to kind of lead them into a conversation,
Right.
basically. So in one of the sessions, just to add on to what you're saying, like you're gonna get a lot of no's, and a yes is gonna come. But when you have that yes, you have to keep getting a yes from that one yes. Meaning, like with the woman that I was talking to, it was simple questions, like, and I kept her, responding positively. Like, yeah. And it was just something simple like, "You gonna be here tomorrow?" "Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow." Or, "Look, if you need help, just let me know. Sound good?" "Yeah, okay, cool." But at the same time, like I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Yeah, like it's good, okay." And the confidence meaning like,
So you want to go on a date, right?
right, right,
Not
and
nodding
like,
yes. You
so
do
like,
want to go. Yes?
but
You do
but at
like
the same time,
cheeseburgers.
the confidence is there because I'm not making it seem awkward. I'm not like, "Do you want to?" Like, it's
Yeah,
like, "No, you want to
that's
go?"
and
Like, this is
that's
this
another
is how it is.
that's another sales thing, right?
Right.
The transfer of energy, that whether or not, if you're assuming yes, then they're gonna also assume yes, and there's only so many times that they have to be really and that's the thing. Like sometimes when we're confused, we say no. If we're confused, we're saying no.
Right.
But if the person is transferring confidence, if the person is transferring the feeling of yes, like, and this feels right, and
And
yeah,
making it make sense.
yeah. And I think that's when you said it just now, you were like, does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
even adding that in as like a comma, does that make sense? So
Yeah.
you might be saying no in your mind to the first part, but it does make sense. So yes, it
You're
does
like,
make
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like when it comes to like the dating scene or sales, it goes hand in hand because you want to keep getting that positive reaction from somebody, and then when it gets to the point of you asking them like, let's go have lunch or dinner or whatever your go to is, they're more comfortable saying yes than no. For them, it's like, and this is the same with guys. If I'm conversing with the female and like she's constantly got me like, yeah, no, yeah, 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 and I'm enjoying this conversation, she's like, you want to grab? Yeah, like I kind of
Yeah,
feel wrong saying
it
no at
definitely
that point.
makes it easier to transition to the second closing. Like going into, all right, is this going to be a date? Will there be another date? Like it's easy to go to that
Right,
from like keeping that momentum, and I think that that's where the confidence part comes into it too. Like
right,
sometimes you don't have to necessarily know that what the outcome's going to be, but confidently assuming that's like a close. Like I'm thinking sales now, but
right.
assuming the close, and in this case the close would be that we're going to have a date number two or even a date number one. um there's too much of that transfer of confusion. Like I'm confused. Is this going well? Like now I'm thinking of like what people say in their head. Like, is this even working?
Hmm.
Does she really like me? And then it becomes, she could see that in your face. You're asking yourself all these questions, and she's just like, this dude is confused. I am out of here. Like,
Exactly,
shut
exactly.
down. Forget it. Like
And
this
when
is
it
this is a
comes to
wrap.
the point of like trying to close a sale or to try to like close that interaction, like by getting a phone number or getting something, it's the same way. You have to be confident in your request. Like with
Your
in the
close
sales
rate
that we
of,
were
of
in,
of getting a number is very high. By the way,
was that
your close rate of getting a number is very high.
absolutely. And
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
I'm no,
I'm
no,
not
I'm
saying
saying
that.
that for you. I'm saying it for you
Oh,
because I've seen it. Like
okay.
I've
But,
seen the close rate. And now we're literally using terms of sales, but I've seen your close rate of, in more so like, and this is like I think your point of like sharing these things in a way that I've learned that it doesn't have to be like that. Like that is the point. Like I've done these things, and I'm not saying that I'm happy that I did it, but at the same
right.
time, like
That's how it
this
works.
is yeah, this is how it was. Like
Yeah. Yeah. So like with sales, you remember in sales, like when we were sitting in somebody's home, one, getting in the home, if you didn't have confidence getting in the home, you're not getting in the home. But when
right.
you're sitting down and you need to get like not even their card, like their social, like something that's very personal, to them. That's personal information. You can't just be like, so now I just need to know what your social is. No, it's just like, and what's the last four of your social?
You're a creep. You gotta go. Bye.
Right.
Yeah, shut
Right. You
down.
gotta you gotta like you gotta make it seem like, look, this is what the next step is. This is what everybody's doing. I need your social. Last four. You want to give me
Yep.
the whole thing? Give me the whole
It,
thing.
it
But
it'd
last
be
four will
like it'd
work.
be like, hey, so your social, you could just write it right here,
Yeah.
and then it's like, cool, thank you. That smooth of this isn't a big deal. Like this is no issue. Like let's kind of keep it going here. And I honestly I like where this kind of stemmed to because I do like to talk more about personal development. And
Hmm.
although this kind of started in the sense of dating, a lot of what we do that people fail to realize, a lot of what we do in relationships, whether that's like for us a business relationship, whether that's your significant other, your parents, your children, whatever it is, those relationships that you have, those things transfer into other parts of your life. So you tend to struggle in more than one area of your life if you're not dealing with these other things in this way. And then when when you're winning in one of those parts of your life, you fail to realize that those same things that are making you win there will also work in other parts of your life if you
Hmm.
just notice and take acknowledgement of what you're doing right and what's winning. Like you could easily transfer those things. So
Right.
I like that we kind of went that route.
I mean, but I do that. I do that in my series. Like I'll connect, my sales experience to how I'm talking to like this woman, or how I was talking to the woman at that time. Because it does go hand in hand. Um, and I try to teach those who lack the confidence or lack the knowledge or the skills to um, talk to a woman, or to take them, ask them out, or to get their number, or anything in that nature, how to use my experiences to complete that task.
Do you feel like I guess how do you feel about and just in the way that you explained that just now, how do you feel about women kind of being the initiator in that like um approaching a man and like things like that, and how often has that happened for you, like where you weren't the one necessarily pursuing and you were being pursued?
I get pursued a lot. The problem is, well, let me just start off by saying when I was single, because I'm not gonna
This
lie.
is live. This is
No, no, no,
live.
no, no, no,
This.
no, no. I'm not gonna lie. I do get pursued even now. Um, I mean, I enjoy it because like I enjoy curving, but that's
Mm.
just me. Especially when like I have somebody that's like
Stay for
like
real.
that's mine. Like I'm good. Like you know what I mean. But
It's like,
um,
well, I was just telling you your shoelace was untied, so
like no,
good
you weren't.
luck.
I'm wearing cowboy boots. No,
I
nah.
got cowboy boots. There's no laces.
No, no, no. But like when I was single, I was pursued, but I was always pursued by women that I wasn't interested in.
Mm.
But I will say this: for women, it is a lot easier.
Yeah, that's true.
It is like you can be you can be super shy, um, not sociable, and if you see somebody that you're attracted to, and you muster up the courage to go over there and talk to them, and like, and you have that confidence to go do that, you'll get a conversation,
Yeah,
bare minimum.
and at the very least, even if you didn't muster up the courage to go say something, I'm thinking of like different scenarios, but like in the club, even like you don't want to walk across the club, you see somebody you're interested in. All you have to really do is like basically like make eye
Give them a
contact
look.
and then just
Yeah,
be like, you could get them to walk across the whole club. If a guy is across the club and he does that, you might be like, yeah,
exactly,
you better walk
exactly,
over here. Like what?
exactly,
I'm not
exactly.
walking to you. Like you
So
crazy?
like
You know what I mean? Like might not
the
be the same reaction.
no, it's not, and I feel like that's where the lack of understanding comes into play because men are always the one to most of the time initiate, pursuing somebody that they're interested in, you know. But if a female finds a guy attractive, the close rate is probably greater if they were to pursue them,
Right.
you know. Um, but
You
again, you
think
got
you think that would be something that like if a guy's pursued, because sometimes like I think people have the chase is the exciting part of it, but when you remove the chase part of it, it's kind of like, man, I don't really not really interested now. Like even if they kind of were, it was like you came to me like I don't know.
what do you mean?
Like I'm just thinking of like you said, like a guy gets pursued by a woman, right? And for the guy, it's about the chase, sort of, or it's about the need to do that. Like that's kind of been the traditional, like you said, the guy is the one pursuing.
Right.
Um, but in that now kind of way, if the woman is the one pursuing, for the guy, maybe even if he was kind of interested, he might be like, but why is she coming at me? Like, shouldn't I be going to her? Like, even if that's like a subconscious thing, um, do you think that like some guys would not because of that because they're the ones being pursued?
You think they would like? You mean like curve them? You mean?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like honestly, it's weird because I've been pursued a couple times, right? But I will say those scenarios never really worked out. Like I don't know if it was like what I'm saying now, and again I'm speaking more maybe from personal, and trying to understand like why didn't that work out? Like was it that I wasn't the one pursuing, or um, maybe like what you said, the people who have pursued you, they just weren't your type, or like you just weren't feeling them as well. So like maybe it could be that. And maybe that's what it is. When we're not feeling somebody, we don't go for them, so they end up coming for us. So I don't know. Like it could be somewhere in between all of that.
I mean, that's true. There was a time where I did pursue somebody, and like she was like so into it that I feel like she overdid it, and then I wasn't interested anymore.
Uh okay.
You know, so it was like I started out pursuing, and then next thing I know, like I'm being pursued. Like, nah, you don't got to do that. Like, I'm already interested. Like, I'm here. Like I don't
Right.
like you don't have to. You know, put yourself in a hyper gear and like I'm
Yo, take it easy. Like,
yeah, like
yeah, you're doing too much. Like,
right,
just chill.
right. And I think women should be mindful of that. Guys should be mindful of that. If you get somebody who comes to pursue you and you are interested in them, cool it. Like
Cool, cool.
they
And
made the
I
first
think
step.
what you're saying is it is important to point out that there's times where you kind of like, oh man, I'm interested in this person, and then it's almost like I want to make sure that they know, and like they go above and beyond more than necessary, than what's necessary, and you got to kind of really just feel it out, gauge it, and then okay, feel.
Right,
I see what this, like have that interaction enough to um know when to fall back or to pursue or fall back,
right.
and I think that is the little bit of the dance. So I have a segment or like a part that I before we get down to like the end of this, that I like to open it up. Everybody, if you're new to the series, and Markel, you are, in the sense that whenever I have a guest on, I like to focus on the guest because you're taking your time to be here. So
Sure.
I don't necessarily, although I kind of check the comments here and there, I don't really interact with the comments. But I will like to take a few minutes to kind of open it up directly to the comments for anybody to maybe make a comment or add a question now for Mark L or myself that we could address while we're still here. And if not, then we'll kind of start wrapping up. But I like to open it up to see if there's any questions, comments, or concerns.
While we
Yeah.
wait, I'm reading a comment. It's saying it's nerve wracking for us ladies, especially if there's times we don't think we are their type. I'm gonna be a dick and just say you spelled "there" wrong. But
What a
on top
jerk.
of that, on top of that, listen.
You know what she meant.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. That's the type of person I am, by the way.
That is
Uh,
a fact. Yeah.
yeah, my girlfriend hates it. So no, but no one ever knows if they're somebody's type, and that's where your confidence comes into play, because if you hesitated with pursuing a guy or a female because you didn't think that you were their type, that means you aren't comfortable in your own skin. So when you walk to somebody, you have courage to walk up to somebody, like that confidence is going to show.
Right.
You're not really worried about, am I their type? You're going to try to be their type and show them like, hey, this is what you're missing.
Which
You
is
know?
it's a really good point, because the other day Jessica told me that I'm not necessarily her type, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm not your type, but here we are.
Right.
So good point. My sister actually, Awakening Faith said, "Can I ask a spicy question?" Of course you can, as long as it's not going to get anybody bananaed. So go ahead and ask a spicy question. That means our accounts won't have access. So I want to
uh,
make sure that she. No, but go ahead and ask. Confidence, Jesse. That's where it's at. um, while we wait for that.
mhm.
Anybody else, just if you're popping in, we are now taking questions or comments in the comments section. So feel free to go ahead and ask away, or if you want to take shots at the guest. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah,
Um,
please go ahead. You know,
put them in the hot
you already,
chair.
you
Put them in
already
the
know how
hot
I am.
seat.
Yo, if you, I don't, I mean, I'm sure some people know the story, but uh, I always talk about the strong aunt thing because, like,
Yo, I didn't
yo,
even get to
I
mention
think,
that.
I think, I think, I think if it was anybody else, like they be hurt
Yeah. No,
because
for sure. And just, whoa, what is that? A galaxy? Who did that? Who did that? Oh, thanks, Jesse. Hey, Jesse. Dope. Appreciate it. So one of the things that I have to tell a quick story time. When me and Markel were roommates in Tennessee, we actually, this is when Periscope, I think it's called, was
yeah,
popping.
Periscope.
So it's like a live format sort of, and you just kind of like do lives back and forth with people. And there was a dude in that we went live with. So all of our roommates were in the kitchen. Markel had the full on perm, like a straight perm, and Mark L's 6 foot, and he had like a tank top on, so he's a little stocky and all that. So, so he comes out and walks past the camera in the background, and he's kind of like moving around. So he's not in the live, but he's moving back and forth within the live. And the person that we're live with is like roasting us, and like we're just going back and forth. But then somebody in the comments is like, "Hey yo, who is the strong aunt in the background though?" So they just started roasting him, and that strong aunt thing became the go to when we were referring to, or we wanted to try to take a shot at Mark L. Was like, "Yo, just sit down with your strong aunt looking self, like take it easy." So we would definitely put that pressure on him and kind of bring it up, but he definitely took it in stride, and he never got bent out of shape about it, never like got
Nah,
annoyed and none of that. It was
not
always
at all.
like cool.
I'm gonna just while we wait
Why
for
are
other
these?
questions, I'm gonna pull up a picture.
Did she ever say what the?
Hmm?
Let me see. No, no, no. You go ahead. I'm checking to confirm if the spicy question ever came out, or was she just on some saying it just to say it. Where'd she go? Is she still in here? But yeah,
So
feel free to comment on all of Mark L's videos. Feel free to say I
I'm
love
gonna
the
pull
strong
this
aunt videos.
photo up. So this is similar to the hair that I had. I'm gonna just say I got everything that you can think of. My boy called me Lord Farquaad with this.
That was another. Yeah, go ahead. You show that picture because that
Yeah.
one right there is definitely the look. That I think that might be the. Hey, yeah, not the biting of the lip. Oh, that's fire. Yo, where are these gifts coming from?
Yeah,
This
where
is
they
so
coming
fire.
from?
Who said
But
that?
yeah, that's the strong
Hey,
aunt
that I
look.
love that one. Yo,
Huh?
that picture is funny, bro. Hold on, I actually have a special appearance. Hold up,
That
hold up. Special appearance. Looking
Jello.
boot
I'm being
like
filtered.
you are.
I'm being
Oh, is it?
filtered.
Oh, so you try to put somebody got
I put
filtered.
it like
Okay.
3 times and it didn't come up. So my question, I said, this, I'll read it back to you. With all the talk about partners, is it rude to ask your body count? And does that even matter?
Hey,
no,
yo.
I don't.
Like,
I mean,
I mean, in general,
It's a
like for
fair
you guys to
question.
discuss in terms of,
Oh, so you don't want to know
not
the body count. You're just saying in general, is
in
in
it?
general.
general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ah, okay.
He doesn't have to
I
really
get
tell
it.
us. I feel it. I already know it's a lot.
Wait for who?
For you,
For you, you got mad
not me.
series, like you got mad episodes. So you're up to episode 10 and you're only 19. I'm sure.
So I don't think it's rude. I don't think it's rude to ask. Like I've spoke about that with all my partners. Um, I think I think honestly it's something that needs to be known, believe it or not. Because
That's
that's
fair.
who the person that's who they were or are. Like if your body count is high, like I'd like to know that. You know,
That's
uh,
fair. And I
if
and
your
I
body
I, I
count
kind
is
of agree. I don't think it means anything per
yeah,
se. Like,
it wouldn't mean that I'm not going to be interested in you. It's just like if you can tell me, yeah, my body count is high, and it is, like I feel like there's some form of trust coming from that. Like you
Hmm.
trust me enough to tell me, to be honest about something that you might actually feel, um, is a flaw of yours.
Do you think that, and this is for both of you, do you think that someone with a like someone who has very little experience and someone who has a lot of experience, do you think those relationships work?
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I
I'll
definitely
tell
have
you right
answers.
now.
I've been with
In my
I've been with.
experience, I'll tell you in my experience.
Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
They do not. They do not work out. I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna say if I was the inexperienced one or if I was the experienced one, but I'll say that. But I'll
I
say,
like that. I
but
like
I'll
that.
say that they do not work out.
But people are
Um,
saying they do work out.
But
no,
in
they
my,
absolutely can.
again, this is gonna be obviously a depending on the situation. But I'm just saying in my experience, they do not. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying my experience.
So
Markel.
yes, I would say that they do work out because I've been with women who had high body counts. I've been with women who had low to no body counts. Um, but the only, as long as they're willing to learn, experiment, and be open
That's
with
the
you,
key.
and not like a prude in bed
There you go.
when it comes to sex.
There you go. And I think that would be the perfect answer is they will work out if you're willing to make it work out.
Right.
That would
That's
be
real.
like it doesn't matter, and that's why I say the count doesn't matter to me. Like I would like to know. We could talk about it. We could joke about it. I don't think it should be weaponized. I don't think you should be like, well,
Right.
that's the reason why that you did, and like weaponize it
That's
against
why
the
you can't ride
person.
it. Okay.
You only got two. Maybe you should go get five more and then come back. Like, but
Yeah,
what? Like,
right.
no. Like, you know what I'm saying? And in that case, like, as long I got into it, maybe when I was like early 20s, I got into a huge debate with one of my best friends, because he was like, yo, if a girl got more than three bodies, she's a and I'm like, what, three? Like three's
She's
the number? Like more than three,
pussy.
she's a heaven on earth. So I'm like, really? Like you, that's where like three is the. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't see a number that I could be like that because I'm like, but because I know his count, right? I knew his body count. I'm like, so it's okay for you to have your body count, but three is too much. That's wild. Like that was always a
No.
wild
Um, I'm just
perspective for me.
I'm just reading one of the comments, and somebody's asking, "What if you're each other's first?"
That's a great. That's a. We're gonna learn this together as we go type of situation, and I
Right.
think that
But
works out
that
great.
also, like, the answer is also you have to be willing to experiment and learn different things, like try different things.
And
Sex
also,
is
the good
like
thing is
a
there's no base
relationship,
point. Like you are each other's base. Like I don't know anything else beyond this, so this is the greatest thing in the world. You
right?
know what I mean? Like
True, true. But let's be real.
You could
Let's be
only
real.
go up from
It's a
here.
lot. It's a lot that person's
it
not
could
going to be
only
able
get
to do
better.
unless you experiment. Meaning, unless you try to learn, look at, read books, watch videos,
I
not
thought you were gonna
necessarily
say the
porn.
videos first. I thought you were gonna go to
Nah,
videos first.
like videos meaning
Read
like
books,
educational
yes.
videos. Because if you turn to porn, like you're not gonna learn anything. That shit is not real. Like no porn star is comfortable having sex.
I that so that comment is a good point. What if you really like the person and the boom boom is awful? To that
Then it's
point,
awful.
Well, no,
to that point, it's hard. It depends on how important that part
That
of the
is to you.
relationship is
Yep.
because in some points it'll be like whatever, but everything else is good and that's not even that important to me.
listen.
Cool. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be fine.
But here's the
Not for
thing:
me though.
like
Not gonna
if
work for
if
me.
if it's awful, what is making it awful, and then can it be changed? Can it be
Facts.
adjusted? And that's where I'm
Are
saying
they willing
read
to
books,
adjust?
huh?
Sometimes learning your partner and like the longer you're with the person and learning like their comforts and
Mhm.
like because not everybody expresses, I've been married for 8 years, been with my husband for 12, and I could tell you that we definitely enjoy sex more now than we did before because we're comfortable with each other and we can tell each other what the other person wants versus when you
That's a
first
good
get
point.
into a relationship and you kind of hide those things and you don't really talk them
Right,
out.
right. I
And
mean,
that's just going to be the confidence and communication and what you're willing to tell your partner that you're
but
that you're okay with and not okay with. Like all of that stuff is
you have to
where it's
humble
at.
yourself though, and be teachable. Is that the word, teachable?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
teachable, coachable.
Yeah, coachable.
Coachable is another
You
one.
you have to be
Especially
coachable.
somebody who's been through the game.
I
They're
but
they're
but but
the
here's the thing.
coach.
When I first started out, like I thought I knew what I was doing for like a while, and I'm not gonna say I didn't. Like I knew a lot, but
So you found somebody that knew more?
exactly until I found somebody who didn't enjoy what I was given.
They're
But
like, what is this?
because I was humble enough to like ask, like, tell me what you want, like teach me
Tell
how to
me
do this.
what you
And now I got no. Let me not do
don't do
that.
that.
now,
Don't do
now,
that.
like the knowledge and you know sex or pleasing a woman is by far what it was when I thought I was at my prime. You know what I mean? But that's because I was humble enough to learn.
And you were humbled.
Yeah.
So the lesson is be humble or get humbled.
Be humble. Sit
Sit
down.
down. Be humble. Yo, Serena, thank you for popping up. I appreciate you.
Wait, before I go, are you gonna do his
You,
cards?
I would, but I know Mark L, and Mark L does not resonate with
Okay.
that, so I will
What?
not.
Nah, he might like it. He might like it.
What is it?
He might
You see,
like it.
he said he's
What is it?
open
Now
to
he wants to know.
experiences. You see?
Wait, hold up. Wait. I mean, yeah, sexual experiences. So what are we talking about?
So
What are we
Tell him
talking
about it.
about?
here on the Tim's Tuesday series, we do a thing where we pull cards. So pulling cards is like normally would be tarot cards or some type of, you know, see, I saw your face. I already
I don't
knew.
do tarot cards though.
I know.
They're
So
not
here's the
tarot
thing: these
cards.
aren't tarot cards. So my version of that is these
What are
cards right
tarot
here.
cards?
What?
What are tarot cards?
They are alphabet flashcards that I shuffle up, right? And then I pull several cards, and then Serena interprets them. So since Serena is here, aka Awakening Faith 8 is here with us right now. I'm gonna shuffle these cards, and since you haven't said no yet, I'm gonna continue to act like you're saying yes because you haven't stopped me. You
No,
kind of
no.
gave like a look, but I'm
Well,
gonna
because all right. So let me ask you this: like with tarot cards, what do you? Aren't you interpreting pictures?
in tarot cards. Well, there's also words and there's also
Right, but you're interpreting it
messages like
to like,
written at the bottom and things like that.
but you're
So
interpreting it to like say something about that person, right?
yeah, typically yeah.
Well, it's not.
So,
No. So actually, the card is the interpretation of the card is the message that spirit wants to give to you. It's not a. It's not.
mm,
It's not. It's not a breakdown of. It's not a breakdown of the person.
I told you.
Come
I
on! I thought
know
you were
my
open
boy.
to it. Come
I know
on.
no,
my
I never
boy.
said I
Let's do
was
one
open
card.
to it.
Let's do one card.
One card, all right. One
Those are
card.
alphabet cards.
These alphabet
Nah,
cards.
yeah,
Let's see what
but
spirit wants to give you. Come on,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's an
guys.
alphabet
Drop
card.
the crystal
But
ball if
now
you
that
want him to pull a
alphabet's gonna tell
card.
you something spiritually about me. Man,
Yeah,
I don't
go
really
ahead,
need to know.
No.
I don't really need to
Look,
know.
guys, if you think we should pull a card, drop a crystal ball.
Huh?
She's trying to use peer pressure as a form of
I'll try to make this a
I'm very
coachable
good with peer
moment.
pressure, by the way. Like I'm never peer pressuring into doing something I don't want to do. But no, so like, and here's why. Here's why I don't. I would say no because um, as a young boy, I've had plenty of experiences with like um, demons. Like I would say spirits, but like I refer to them as demons because that's just how I was brought up.
talk about it.
Um, like I know what's real, and I know what can actually happen. I've seen stuff happen. I've seen, you know,
He
uh,
knows what time it is.
I've seen my cousin, get thrown in the air and literally beat the fuck up. I've seen my parents disappear. Um, like I've seen a lot of stuff. Shit, like I've
So
seen like
basically, what you're saying is you're not ready
I've
to
seen
open up
stuff
any
fly from one
doors,
end of the room to the other, but the thing is, I'm not afraid of it, but
right?
I know how that works. So when it
If
comes to
you
like,
knew how it works, you would not be so quick to push it off
no, 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 no,
because
but
it
you gotta understand what I'm
not
pushing
all of
off.
it is the same
Right.
arena is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
There's different levels to everything. And
Mhm.
then I always
It's nothing
explain
to
to
this.
people magic resonates with the individual. And if a person stands in light, then the message they deliver is always in light. So everything is a
So
product of the beholder.
we
But what
ask
I'm
that
saying
you
is,
attend Serena's Witch on Wednesdays that happen on Wednesday nights,
but
11 p.m.
but
Eastern Standard Time.
but what I'm
So
saying
please check
is,
that out.
I don't. So I don't view it as magic.
Right.
Like
Well, that's because you were taught something different. I understand what you're saying.
it's not that I was taught something different. I experienced.
It's his experience
Yeah.
is what it is. So
Well,
that
that's
experience has
what
shaped his perspective
Right.
and what your
more than
experiences
anything.
teach you how to behave in life.
Sure.
So that's what I mean. Like through what you've personally seen in that arena, you lend that energy more to a negative energy than a positive energy because you haven't had the opportunity to be blessed by something that was more positive than negative. The
Oh
energy
no, no,
that
no.
the things that have sat and that you've seen evolve
Mhm.
spiritually around you have given you more of a negative connotation to it.
No, no, no. I'm just saying, like, I know the negative side of it. I've been spiritually, I've gained spiritually plenty of times. Um, but just because of how I was brought up and what I've learned, is different from what everybody else, like how they're brought up.
Right.
I view things differently. You know,
Word.
it's just,
Understood.
you know what I mean. I'm not saying, you know, you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm wrong or right. It's just we view, spiritual interpretation differently. You know what I mean?
Facts. Big, big facts. I think I saw a question. I'm gonna check. I know there was a crystal balls that were dropped, but since
Are
we're
they
not gonna
dropping
do that,
balls?
they're dropping the crystal balls out here.
True. If you don't mind, I don't know how to drop down without exiting out completely.
That is a great question. Hold up. Let me see. Yeah, I think. Let's see. That's my first time doing that. Perfect. I'm glad I got it right.
Is she still on
um,
here though?
yeah, she'll still be in the chat. Like she'll be in the comments. So, for anybody else have any other questions, comments? We're gonna start wrapping this thing up. If not, so last call. Um,
Oh, let me just also say, because like we've talked about it a lot, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Um, don't text nothing to me. I saw that. It's a good
thank
thing
you,
I
thank
went.
you,
It's a
thank
good
you,
thing I
thank
scrolled
you.
down. Okay. No, I just wanna. I just want to mention that we talked about towards the end, and throughout the session about sex. Um, I want everyone to understand when it comes to relationships, it's not that it's about sex, but sex does play a big role. Unfortunately, I feel like if you are with someone and you can't connect with them physically and intimately, then you're missing a big part of what that love can bring, you know? So when it comes to relationships, if your sex with someone is bad, the reason you want to learn how to, progress with that person is because you love that person. Just because it's bad doesn't mean you're going to go look somewhere else. If you actually do, care for that person, you'll progress with them. If you're in a relationship with someone and you find that it's hard for you to be intimate, it's best that you try to find a way to give them that type of connection, because I feel like if you're missing that in a relationship, you're not you're not fully fulfilled. That's part of it. So you don't want someone to feel like they're missing out, because there's going to be somebody who's going to come along and tell them, "Oh, you're missing out." I can give that to you, and now you're putting thoughts
Yeah,
in people's heads that shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? And it's not saying like everyone's gonna end up cheating or stepping out of a relationship, but you got to give your partner the confidence that you are gonna be everything that they need. Or you're able to be open to them being satisfied. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I think that's a good point about just knowing and getting to know your partner well enough that like if that is important to them and you can't deliver in a sense, finding ways to still be able to connect, and then like if that isn't something that's important to you necessarily, and it's not about your partner, is expressing that and letting them know like this isn't something that I necessarily need or whatever. Like the point of it would be finding those connections, and that sometimes that is important to you or your partner, and then again vice versa, maybe it's not so important to you or your partner, but the importance is getting to know that person that you are spending your time with, sharing your energy with, and being able to connect in a way that is going to make both of you happy. So I definitely like I like that. That's the kind of like the end off message. That was like a good way to wrap it up, especially that we kind of went through so many different
Yeah.
avenues and we talked about so many different things. So I like that. Thanks for kind of like that. I think that's a really good message. So
Mm.
for everybody who rocked out with us today, I want to say thank you. I think we did a great episode here. I think Mark L blessed the Tim's Tuesday, and I'm very, very appreciative of you taking your time to do this today. Um, I want to wish you much success in everything that you do, specifically in the series that you started here, and everything that you want to, create from it. I hope you get that and more that you don't even foresee for yourself. I hope you get that as well. So
Appreciate that.
I always tell you in everything that we've done together that, time, and I tell everybody here, time is the one thing we don't get back. So, the fact that we're able to take the time and have these conversations and share the message, share your experience, share your story, I truly appreciate it. So for everybody who sent gifts, everybody who tapped the screen, everybody who just rocked out, asked questions, comments, all of that stuff, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for rocking out with us. Yeah, this is the end of the episode. So normally I do a quick little rundown of all the different things that we have going on in the next week or so, or the different series that other people within our group or friends of the show do. The one thing I do want to mention really quickly is next Tuesday, we're gonna have a special event, and we're not gonna host it on Tuesday. It's gonna be a crossover episode, and we're gonna host Tim's on Monday. So it's gonna be Tim's Monday next week, February 27th. My guest does a show on Monday, and I do my show on Tuesday. And we thought it would be cool if we put the two together and host Tim's Tuesday on Monday, so that we could kind of little crossover type thing. So I won't necessarily say who my guest is. If you figured it out or you think cool. I guess you have to tune in next week on Monday to see who that guest is. But as you all know, and for those of you who don't know, we have a ton of different content creators within our group, different people who tune in and tap in with us. So please, tap in with them. They've been in the live, they've been tapping, they've been sending gifts. We have everything from spirituality to beauty to just being able to be yourself, late night hanging out, to getting recharged with your energy and getting your chakras in line, and from everything. We have a bunch of different things. Tune in next week, Monday. Continue to rock out with us. Again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is Tim's Tuesday, episode 6. We have Mark L in the building. Appreciate you.
I didn't realize I was episode 6. I like that.
Yeah, man. Episode 6, baby. Appreciate it, man. So without further ado, thank you again. Everybody have a good night. Peace.
Right.